Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. The video today from Man Reacts. Modern women just can't seem to accept that men want younger, more softer women. Like, come on. Please extra them below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow time.
Modern women can't seem to accept that guys want younger, softer feminine women.
Why would you rather have a young, inexperienced, possibly naive and immature young woman who has not really accomplished anything? Maybe she hasn't found her own way. She hasn't made anything of herself just yet. Why would you want that over a woman who is older, wiser, more experienced, and more independent? She's not going to take all your money. She doesn't need you, but she wants you.
A guy values a woman's sexual purity above all things because we can build off of that. Guys want a woman with low body count first and foremost. That's the ultimate flex. Not how much you can throw it down on him fucking doggy style, or how much you can throw that ass back, or your BBL, or your 1900 lip injections. None of that shit matters. Are you a or are you not a? And if you're not, guess what? Gold tier status.
Modern women think guys date younger women because they're easy to manipulate. Older women, it is you who have created the issue you are now complaining about. You have become combative, overly argumentative and demanding, too stressed, and simply unpleasant to be with. No man wants to go near that.
There's sort of this line that, like, men should only go for women who are under 25, and if you're 25 and you don't have a partner, then you're like a gross old lady or something. And I think part of that comes from a fear that these men have that an older woman or a woman that's age appropriate will know that they're bullshit. And young
No. Why is there a particular age if it's just about the bullshitness? 25, so all of a sudden 25 is past that, you're able to detect bullshit? Doesn't even make sense. Some people can't detect bullshit even though they're in their 70s.
Young women don't have the life experience to detect the bullshit, so they need somebody who's not going to realize that they're absolute garbage at sex. They need to know somebody who's too young to realize that they overplay how important they are and how smart they are and how cool they are. And the reason that they're able to do that with younger people is because they have no life experience to prove to the contrary. You can't get anything past a woman who's like been dating for 20 years by the time she's 35. She's just gonna be like, nah, dude, you're trash.
It's not about your age, really. It is about your attitude. You are now too scarred and miserable to the point of being non-cooperative, unsupportive, and cold in a relationship. Of course, if Chad and Tyrone are the only men ever visible to you, then do not wonder why he has options and prefers to go for younger, more accessible women.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they do nothing all day.
Do we
Other than create the anime and the costumes and everything that you are literally wearing and portraying and enjoying? Very few women create popular animes.
need men?
No, like, they just sit there.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they're icky.
How did he find three tiny girls all dressed in just insane fashion? Tough world out there for men. It really is, both on this and the dating side of things. Somebody said, that's the same person 3 times. Thank you, that's what I think. Somebody else said, pay attention to me. You must look at me. I require attention, whether it's good or bad attention. I do not care. Just pay attention to me. Yeah, that's why they're all dressed like that. And why they say...
I think this is like more like at a convention, anime convention or something, because usually people don't wear that shit normally.
things like that. It's all for shock value.
It's true about older men and options for women. I think it's the confidence and capabilities of an older guy that turns them on.
True.
However, the thing that shocks me is the lack of manners and basic respect for younger women. They are crass. Most of the time, if you engage with one of those women, they can't handle getting checked for being rude and ungrateful. They are just not equipped to process a man setting boundaries and standards. Successful older men have their choices increased, while successful older women have their choices narrowed.
This is 100% correct, man. Even my own life, I'm experiencing it now. As I get older, after my divorce, I'm more successful. I look better. I work out. You know, I make more money. You know, it's just more confidence. Now that I've experienced so much shit and so much things, I know how to move about life. I know how to kind of move about certain situationships or situations that I didn't understand before. Experience really teaches men and really hardens us into a diamond.
And this small number of choices is what frustrates them the most.
For a guy to date you, what does he need to bring?
Stable job, good family,
Happiness.
kindness, intellectual. He needs to be like smart, not just like academic smart, but like, needs to be outgoing.
How much does a good job pay?
We're about to be seniors in college, right?
So define
like,
good job.
You define it.
well, I would say right out of college, if my man is not making at least 90K,
You girls are not going to be making 90K out of college, so shut the fuck up. You guys have no clue how the real world works.
he's not gonna be my man.
At what age do you typically graduate college?
I'll graduate when I'm 22.
Okay, so 22, he needs to be pulling out 90K.
Oh yeah, I know so many
Following,
people.
if you're
So
doing
many
the right
people.
career path and you
Yeah.
want to, if you're going for what you want, maybe it's less than 90K, but as long as you're achieving what you
85,
want to achieve.
80, no, not achieving. Motherfucker, you say achieving what you want to hear from me. I'm fucking like theater or something. No.
Just
85 to 90K, I feel like is a stable income right out of college, especially.
Dude, that's like high upper middle class. Most people make fucking what, 50, 60? At 22, you're making 37.
I guess in our field,
Women expected to party for a decade, then land a top-tier man in time to pop a few kids and live happily ever after. A few pull it off, but most end up alone, medicated, bitter, and somewhat impoverished.
So more physically attractive, I would say more emotionally available, more romantic, more energy, optimistic for the future, more time to live life and travel the world before starting a family, more fertile, less baggage and trauma. That's really big. The more relationships you've had, you get more baggage, you have more relationship trauma, you're jaded. More open to new ideas, more agreeable, typically easier to build a life with. Like we were talking about before, the
She look at her face, just like,
more partners you've had, you've probably landed on a guy who's a top G. And once you've been with a really top guy, you're not going to be happy with Mr. Normal.
Of course, it's all men's fault. Of course. I've seen women's videos talking to men about dating, and the men say, "Why would I marry you?" And the women say that they're not talking about marriage, they're talking about dating. The men point out that men date someone they think has marriage potential.
what's the point of dating if you're not working towards marriage? Men want marriage. Men want a family. Well, maybe not more marriage nowadays. If marriage was more balanced in laws and how they fuck us over in divorce, then men would want it. Men want families. We just can't seem to get them, and just dating just to get women to date you is pretty much women setting up men to be used. To go out there and pay for all the dates for all these women, and most of these women are not going to even give you the time of day other than use you for your food.
Potential, and the women are always like, no. A man may earn 100K a year, but it's okay because he's supposed to. But when a woman reaches 100K, she's strong and successful. Making money takes time. Only some women do not consider dating a poor man with goals, but would rather wait until he becomes rich.
Yep.
Then, they dare to approach you when you are successful and act as if they are your best choice.
Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. And that's all women's fault, of course. Because women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high status males are. Women pretend to give a shit about men, of course they don't. A woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat. And is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like they name all this shit that most dudes are never gonna have.
And to tell you the truth, I don't think age is a main factor in this.
I don't think so.
These girls date older guys because of money. And because few people are born into money and it takes time to establish a fortune, so the guys are older by the time they can afford all these hot girls. I can assure you that in the town where I grew up, no sane 20-year-old would fall for a 40-something miner or railway man. Besides, these girls are gathering experience so that in a few years they themselves can be bitter old jealous women. I don't understand women complaining about men dating younger. I know a few women dating younger men by a decade, and no one complains about that.
What you're trying to say, a 34-year-old woman, right, is the same as a 34-year-old guy that's single, and I'm telling you it's not. At 34 years old as a woman, you've pretty much exhausted most of your value. Versus a guy that's 34 years old is still building his value, if he's doing the work, and has more time. Again, women are given their value by Mother Nature, and Father Time takes it away.
For most.
See, this is the part where I say, like, I would never want to be a woman because women's value is front loaded. I would, as a man, I like the ability to not have a glass ceiling in a sense to where I can break through the ceiling because I can just work harder and achieve more. Women can't do that. They can't really get more beautiful than they already are, especially when they're in their 20s. They lose that. And to lose all of your privilege from when you were born with and then half to mid-age, it sucks. I can see why they're struggling with it.
Women, yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. You're 34 years old. You're not going to be able to compete with a girl that's 24 years old that looks just like you. The guys are going to prefer the younger girl.
That's your opinion.
I mean,
Again, that's your opinion.
That is not an opinion. That is a fact that men prefer younger women on average.
It's them who have competition now. Same as we did when we were younger. We, men, peak at different ages. That is the reality. Of course, I will go for the young.
The other side, remember, Jeff Bezos didn't make it until in his late 30s, 40s, right? You guys have time. Men, we have time to build. I say it again, grit. We fail. The more we fail, the more we learn. But the faster you can pick yourself up and keep moving forward to fail more, the more you will hit something that you're not going to fail anymore. I probably sounded bad, but something that you'll be more successful in. I failed through most of my businesses, most of the careers I've tried and done. I've landed on something now, but it's because I kept trying, guys. Don't give up. Keep trying. You want to make more money? Find ways to make more money. You want to be fucking hotter? You want to be more attractive to women? Find ways to do these things. My channel might not help you with some of these things. Go find channels that will get you what you want out of your life. Go for those goals.
Younger ones now that I have options, and so will any man. When a woman understands that she will be happy in every or nearly every way when she lets a man control her entire life and serves him entirely, she will finally get it. The problem with this is that all media says the exact opposite of that, and it's ruining the essence of what it means to be a woman ultimately. What I hate the most is that men are supposed to achieve success in life, but when women do it, they are independent, confident, and successful.
If you have a man that is like even just slightly above average, like how do you not spend almost all your time just like bragging about him? As far as I'm concerned, bragging about my husband is like my favorite extracurricular activity. It's like a full-time hobby because here's why. My younger self, I've seen some shit when it comes to men. Like I've been in the trenches. Okay, so when I found my husband and I started dating him, like I was marking all that territory, like that mine.
As she should.
And 7 years later, despite all of our struggles, despite all of the stuff we've been through, despite all of the things that...
This is the type of woman that motivates her husband to be the best man possible. And she is who more single women need to listen to instead of that single woman that says that men shouldn't be praised for doing the bare minimum. Because there is no minimum. You're not his job. You're his partner, and you should both appreciate doing the little things for each other without expectations.
They shame us for anything that breaks their reality of I'm perfect. Women genuinely believe they deserve a Prince Charming. They lack empathy to understand that men desire different things. Many men want to be that first physically, romantically, and with experiences such as traveling. The more experience a man has, the more he wants to give. The more experience a woman has, the more she expects, and the more she wants to experience those things.
I've dated some pretty wealthy women that had a lot of experiences, and they would tell me about those experiences. It's literally a turnoff. It does not even excite me any way, shape, or form that they've traveled and done all of these amazing things. No, he's right. I want to be the one that shows you and takes you to all these amazing things. If you experienced this already, wonderful for you. Let me go find someone that hasn't experienced it, that might take the experience I give them much more gratitude towards it.
With other men. Men want to provide and protect, but they dislike feeling obligated to do such things, and that too, without appreciation or respect. This is another example of how women as a group create so many of their problems on the dating scene. I'm sure these women in their 30s were the exact type of women who, when they were early 20s, dated older men. Also, the women now in their early 20s who find themselves single in their 30s are going to dislike how younger women are taking the older men. When a woman goes online and says, "I don't need a man for this, that, and the other," that means she desperately needs a man for all those things, but is afraid for her life she'll never get him. When these older women were in their 20s, they would have jumped at the chance to date an older, stable, successful man, or an older man on his way to that level of status.
Correct.
It was only when they got older that they concluded that older men shouldn't be dated by younger women, because they are getting bitter, resentful, and left behind. Men get better, wiser, more stable, and more attractive as they age. Women go in the opposite direction. These particular women felt entitled in their 20s, so instead of getting with guys their own age and being good wives to them, nothing was ever good enough for them. I preferred to be with a woman my age because we would have grown up with the same stuff and could relate to each other more easily. Instead, I'll probably be with a girl much younger than me, because the girls my age went for the older guys. What is really crazy is that when these high-value women talk about why they deserve a perfect guy, they only talk about their good jobs, their financial independence, their looks, what they bring to the table, etc. And none of them say they can be a great mother, can be compassionate, loving, supportive,
I say this all the time.
and will build a great future with their partner.
They only say
they have
what
no reason
they
to be
want,
angry.
Never.
They
what
were the ones who ignored us when we were 18 to 30. I mean, they didn't think we would wait for them to reach 35 to 40, did they? It's so crazy how people think these days. Besides, most are not looking like they did at 20, at all. It's so simple when they see men have choices. They want to change guys or want someone who matches every expectation of them. And even when men try hard to do that and fail at the little point, they reject them. When men get in power and don't want them, they start feeling sad, and now they want them, even if they have a little of what they want. But as you know now, men won't go there because now they have the options. The only thing I don't get is, men and women in their 30s and 40s will only date a perfect 10. Or if you're willing to date someone over 25, 28, don't be surprised when they have a kid or are married.
True.
The older women complaining about the lack of men in their 30s and 40s were the same 20-somethings in the past who were having fun with older men. They are attacking their past selves and bad decisions. It's a cycle that never ends and probably never will.
Never will. The perpetual hate of women. They just constantly hate on each other. Why? Because they hate themselves, because they're making the wrong mistakes constantly. And when they're at that peak of, oh shit, I made the mistake, they can't do anything else other than shame other women to do the exact same mistake. Please extract them below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you next time.